The room is quiet now, too quiet, and somehow the silence feels heavier than the noise did. You've been carrying so much for so long that even resting feels exhausting. And tonight, you almost gave up. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. The kind of exhaustion that makes a person stare at the ceiling in the dark and wonder how much longer they can keep pretending they're okay. The kind where you stop answering texts, stop explaining yourself, stop asking for help because you're tired of hearing "stay strong" from people who have no idea how heavy your heart has become. But before you close your eyes tonight, listen carefully, because heaven has not ignored your pain, and God is speaking directly to you right now. My child, please don't walk away yet, because the truth is, nobody saw the full battle you fought today. They saw your smile, your routine, your responsibilities, but they did not see the war happening inside your chest. They did not see how hard it was for you to get out of bed this morning, how your mind felt crowded before the day even began, how you sat in your car for a few extra minutes because you needed time to breathe before facing another day, how you kept replaying the same fears over and over in your mind, the bills, the heartbreak, the disappointment, the loneliness, the uncertainty, the exhaustion of always trying to survive. And what hurts the most is how long you've been carrying this silently. You kept hoping somebody would notice. Somebody would ask deeper questions. Somebody would see beyond the "I'm fine." But most people never saw the tears you wiped away before entering the room. They never saw the nights you cried without making a sound because you didn't want anyone to hear you breaking apart. And sometimes you even wondered if God saw it. You prayed, you waited, you tried to stay faithful. But after a while, disappointment started sounding louder than hope. You started questioning yourself, questioning your worth, questioning your purpose, questioning whether anything would ever truly change. And the scariest part was not the pain. It was the numbness that came after it. That moment where you became so emotionally tired that you stopped expecting life to get better. You learned how to survive while secretly falling apart. You laughed in conversations while feeling empty inside. You kept showing up for everybody else while your own soul felt abandoned. And tonight, you almost convinced yourself that giving up would hurt less than continuing. But listen to me carefully. That heaviness you feel, I know it intimately. I have watched every silent battle, every hidden panic attack, every exhausted prayer whispered into the darkness. Every moment you stared at the ceiling asking, "God, where are you?" I was there. When nobody checked on you, I was there. When you cried in the bathroom so nobody would notice, I was there. When anxiety wrapped around your chest at 2 a.m. and sleep would not come, I was there. When you felt invisible in crowded rooms, I was there. And even now, while you sit here carrying invisible pain that nobody fully understands, I am still here. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not too broken for love. You are not too exhausted for restoration. You are not failing because you're tired. You've just been fighting too long without rest. There's a difference. You thought your exhaustion meant weakness, but heaven calls it endurance. Because honestly, most people would have quit already. After everything you've survived, everything you've lost, everything you've carried alone. The fact that you are still here is proof that something greater has been holding you together, even when you couldn't feel it, especially when you couldn't feel it. The enemy wanted you isolated, wanted you convinced that your story was over, wanted you to believe that your life would never change, that you'd always feel this empty, always feel this anxious, always feel this behind, always feel forgotten. Because if he can convince you to walk away now, you'll never see what's waiting on the other side of this season. And there is another side, even if you cannot imagine it yet. I know you're tired. I know your heart feels bruised from disappointment. I know there are prayers you stopped praying because silence hurt too much. I know you're exhausted from carrying responsibilities while secretly wondering who would carry you. I know what it feels like to keep pouring into others while your own soul feels dry. But hear me clearly tonight. This is not the end of your story. Your life is not meaningless. Your pain is not wasted, and your future did not die in this season of exhaustion. Something is still alive inside you, even now, buried underneath the anxiety, underneath the depression, underneath the fear, underneath the disappointment. There is still purpose breathing quietly within your soul. You just forgot what hope sounds like. But I have not forgotten who you are. You are not the version of yourself created by trauma. You are not the rejection people placed on you. You are not your failures. You are not your financial struggles. You are not the abandonment you experienced. You are not the mistakes that still haunt your mind at night. You are mine, and I need you to understand something tonight. The reason the battle became so intense is because your future still matters. There is a calling on your life that pain could not destroy, that betrayal could not destroy, that depression could not destroy, that exhaustion could not destroy. You think you're barely surviving. Meanwhile, heaven sees someone who kept getting back up after every silent collapse. Someone who still cared despite heartbreak. Someone who still loved despite disappointment. Someone who still searched for hope while carrying unbearable heaviness. That matters more than you realize. I know you compare yourself to other people sometimes. You see their smiles, their relationships, their opportunities, their stability, and secretly you wonder why life feels harder for you, why things seem delayed, why your heart feels so tired. But what you don't see is the strength you've developed in hidden places, the compassion growing inside you because of your suffering, the wisdom forming through every lonely night, the resilience being built every time you chose not to quit. One day, the pain that almost destroyed you will become the reason someone else survives. One day, your voice will comfort people who feel exactly the way you feel tonight. One day, your scars will stop hurting and start healing others. But right now, I just need you to stay. Stay through this night. Stay through this season. Stay long enough to see what I'm preparing for you. Because things are shifting even when you cannot see movement yet. I know it feels impossible to believe sometimes, especially after repeated disappointment, especially when prayers seemed unanswered, especially when doors kept closing, especially when your heart kept getting hurt. But some delays protected you. Some closed doors preserved you. Some endings rescued you from futures that would have broken you even more. You thought everything falling apart meant I left you. But sometimes things fall apart because I am rebuilding your life differently, stronger, deeper, healthier, more aligned with your purpose. And I know rebuilding feels uncomfortable because healing often feels unfamiliar before it feels peaceful. You became so used to survival mode that rest almost feels dangerous now. You became so used to disappointment that hope feels risky. You became so used to carrying pain that freedom feels unrealistic. But little by little, I am teaching your heart how to breathe again. You may not notice it yet, but there are moments now where the darkness does not last as long. Moments where laughter returns unexpectedly. Moments where peace touches you briefly. Moments where you remember what it feels like to dream again. That is not accidental. That is healing quietly entering your life. And healing is rarely loud. Most of the time, it arrives softly, like finally exhaling after holding your breath for years, like sleeping peacefully after months of anxious nights, like realizing you smiled genuinely for the first time in a long time, like looking in the mirror and no longer hating the person staring back at you. And yes, there are still difficult days ahead, but difficult days are not proof that you are abandoned. Storms do not cancel destiny. Pain does not cancel purpose. Exhaustion does not cancel your future. You are allowed to be tired and still chosen. You are allowed to struggle and still deeply loved. You are allowed to cry and still carry purpose. Please stop punishing yourself for being human. You have survived things that drained your soul. Of course you became tired. Of course your heart became guarded. Of course your mind became overwhelmed sometimes. But your exhaustion is not your identity. It is only a season. And seasons change. I need you to hear this next part with your whole heart. You are closer to breakthrough than you realize, not because life suddenly becomes perfect overnight, but because something inside you is beginning to wake up again. The part of you that still wants to believe, the part of you that still hopes for peace, the part of you that still imagines a better future despite everything. That tiny flicker inside you, protect it, because hopeless people do not search for healing. The fact that you are still listening tonight means your soul has not given up completely, and neither have I. There are people you haven't met yet who will love you deeply. Places you haven't seen yet that will make you feel alive again. Moments coming that will heal parts of you this season wounded. There will be mornings where anxiety no longer greets you first, nights where your mind finally becomes quiet, conversations that remind you you're valued, opportunities that restore your confidence, peace that no longer feels temporary. I know right now it's hard to picture because pain narrows vision, exhaustion makes the future look dark. But your current feelings are not permanent truth. You are not doomed to stay this version of yourself forever. The chapter you are in right now is not the entire story. And please, stop believing the lie that you are too far gone. You are not too damaged, not too emotional, not too broken, not too behind, not too complicated to be loved. I created you with intention. Even the tender parts of you, even the emotional parts, even the parts you try to hide because you think they make you weak. Your sensitivity is not weakness. Your deep heart is not weakness. Your capacity to feel deeply is not weakness. It's part of the reason you are still capable of love despite everything you endured. Do you understand how powerful that is? After all the disappointment, you still care. After all the betrayal, you still long for connection. After all the exhaustion, you still secretly hope life can become beautiful again. That is strength. Quiet strength, sacred strength, the kind heaven notices. So tonight, before you sleep, stop carrying tomorrow for a few minutes. Stop replaying every mistake. Stop trying to solve your whole future tonight. Breathe. Just breathe. Let your shoulders relax. Let the tears fall if they need to. You do not have to pretend with me. I already know the parts you hide from everyone else, the fears you never say out loud, the moments you question whether your existence mattered, the nights you wondered if anyone would miss you if you disappeared. And I need you to hear me clearly. Your life matters more than you know. Your presence in this world matters. Even when you cannot see your impact yet. Even when your life feels small. Even when you feel replaceable. You have touched people without realizing it. You have kept people alive simply by being kind while carrying your own pain. You have been light in places where darkness was winning, and your story is still unfolding. Do not walk away before the miracle arrives. Do not quit before the healing begins to bloom. Do not abandon yourself in the middle of the transformation, because one day you will look back at this season differently. Not as the season that destroyed you, but as the season that revealed how deeply loved you truly were. One day, the same person crying tonight will feel peace again, will laugh again, will trust again, will dream again, will feel safe again, will wake up without dread again. That future version of you already exists. You are simply walking toward them one exhausted step at a time. And I am walking beside you, even now, especially now. So if all you can do tonight is survive, then survive. If all you can do is whisper one tiny prayer, that is enough. If all you can do is make it through tomorrow, I will meet you there too. You do not need perfect faith. You just need to keep going. One breath, 1 hour, one day at a time. And when the enemy whispers that nothing will ever change, remember this moment. Remember that something inside your heart still responded to hope tonight. That wasn't coincidence. That was me reaching for you. Because I refuse to let exhaustion steal your destiny. I refuse to let temporary darkness convince you that your life has no meaning. I refuse to let the pain have the final word. The final word over your life will be healing, peace, restoration, joy returning slowly, love arriving gently, purpose awakening deeply. And yes, there will come a day when you no longer cry yourself to sleep, wondering whether things will ever get better. There will come a day when your nervous system no longer lives in survival mode. A day when your heart feels safe again. A day when you realize you made it through what once felt impossible. And when that day comes, you will understand why you had to survive this night. But until then, stay with me. Rest here for a while. Let my presence hold the parts of you that feel too tired to keep carrying everything alone. You do not have to earn my love. You do not have to perform for my presence. You do not have to hide your exhaustion from me. Come as you are, tired, anxious, confused, emotionally worn out. Come exactly like that. And let me remind your soul of something the world tried to make you forget. You are still worthy of love, still worthy of peace, still worthy of rest, still worthy of a future, still worthy of joy. And no matter how dark this season became, your story still has light ahead of it. So tonight, when the room grows quiet again and the thoughts begin returning, remember these words. You are not alone in this battle. You are not abandoned in this pain. And you are not failing because you are tired. You have simply been carrying too much for too long. But I am still carrying you too. So please, don't walk away yet. There is still more life waiting for you. More healing waiting for you. More peace waiting for you. More love waiting for you. And one day soon, you are going to be grateful you stayed.